Don't just take my word for it. Take Omar's. Marketing is extremely important. Hey there, it's Erik J. Olson. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Omar Khan, who is a commercial real estate investor. Now, this is something that was a really important, kind of a good interview for me because I am getting into commercial real estate investing. And so I had some very particular questions for him about commercial real estate investing. If you are looking to get into that as well, check out the full recording of this interview. It's up on YouTube. It was a live that we did on April 15th, 2021. But I also asked him a lot of questions about being an entrepreneur and running his own company. And one of the questions I asked him is basically, what are some tips that you could give to someone who is starting a company or has already started and they're trying to grow their company? And the very first tip that he gave was that marketing is important. And his point was, and you'll hear it in a second, we'll play the clip, but his point was that a lot of times people will focus on building a perfect product and they'll ignore the marketing. And if you ignore the marketing, well, you can only do so much with that product. You know, a lot of people, like I said, they focus on making the best thing possible and they think that's going to bring them clients. It's not. You have to get out in the world and tell people about your product. And it doesn't even honestly have to be the best product. Check out this clip. But yeah, just anything come to your mind as far as like some tips and tricks, maybe I think that some wisdom that you can offer to the listeners.
So I can only look. The big overarching thing that I think a lot of people can say is that marketing is so important that a lot of people look down. Especially, I've seen this personally, and I personally have witnessed this. A lot of trained professionals, like I'm in finance, right? I worked in investment banks, all that. A lot of trained professionals, like say investment bankers, doctors, lawyers, these so-called conservative white-collar people who've taken, God knows, 20 years of schooling just to basically start doing their first job. A lot of times they instinctively, in some shape or form, and by themselves, I included myself in that list till 5 years ago, they either look at marketing as something that needs to be done, but not really. I mean, it's not really the focus of my business or whatever, or they look down on it. Well, why do I got to market? I am the best worker in the world. Why would I need to market? Or if I do, it's kind of a half-ass sort of way of doing it. So please get the hell off your high horse, okay? Because, and this, I don't know about other people, but I can tell you this because I know a lot of doctors, lawyers, accountants, finance people, private equity people. And these are all people with a lot of schooling, conventional schooling, right? Conventional schooling. Marketing is an afterthought. And that is the biggest mistake you can make because nobody gives a shit how good you are. Nobody cares if you went to Harvard. In my case, nobody gave a shit that I worked in two of the biggest bulge bracket banks. I had a CFA charter. I mean, that's a gold standard. Nobody gives a shit. Yeah. You're not good at marketing. And you can't just say you want to do it. You have to internally internalize the fact that this is like if you don't sell and if you don't market, none of this other stuff matters. Nobody cares how good your accounting system is. So that. But the other thing for me, and I've seen this a lot, again, coming from finance background, I've seen this a lot with people who are typically coming from the top schools like I did, or they work in these investment banks, that they find the transition to entrepreneur. Everybody says we want to be an entrepreneur, right? But they find, and I myself included in this, they find the transition harder because a lot of times we like to pretend to, or at least like to think of ourselves as smarter than the average person. And we get in our own way. And in the external world, which is not, say, an investment bank, everybody doesn't wear a $3,000 suit and show up to work. That oftentimes it closes a lot more doors than it opens for you. Yeah. So you kind of have to be very open to understanding that, look, in the real world, outside of an office, the 50-story office tower that all these investment bankers work in, the real world is kind of different. You have to get out of your own way. You have to be a little less cocksure. And not everybody in the real world is a psycho trying to act like an alpha male all the time. Because a lot of law and finance, it's a very male-dominated field, right? So everybody wants to beat their chest and tell you how great they are. And the real world doesn't necessarily work like that. So you have to be open and humble and be flexible, basically. That's very important.
Yeah, all great points. On the first point, marketing, we're a marketing agency. I completely agree for lots of reasons, but the reason that we got into marketing We started off doing basically just websites or mobile apps. But we would build something. We would spend 6 months and a lot of our clients' money building something. We'd hand it over to them and then they wouldn't market it. And it got frustrating for us. We're like, we're wasting our time here. I mean, it's nice to get paid, but I want to work on something that's going to turn into the next Uber or Twitter or something like that. And so we started to tell our clients, like, whatever you pay us, you need to set aside that same amount of money for marketing. Go hire a marketing agency and they'll help you. And then we started to kind of tiptoe into marketing. And then we realized, you know what? Actually, marketing is more important than the thing that we were building.
Oh, everything. Marketing. If you don't market, nothing else matters. I don't care how good your product is.
There's a personality, Grant Cardone, does a lot of sales training, and he has a saying that best known beats best. Best known beats best. And it's true. You know, and there's a lot of examples throughout history with the Betamax and like VHS as an example. The best didn't actually win. Best known did. The best adopted. So yeah, great point on the marketing. Totally agree. Hey there, it's Erik J. Olson. I wanted to let you know about my book, $1 Million Journey, How to Launch a 7-Figure Business. This is the story of what it took for me to go from freelancer with no clients, no employees, no revenue, to growing a $1 million business. It took me 8 years and I made a lot of mistakes. And all of those mistakes, and more importantly, lessons learned, are in this book. And we have chapter takeaways, 5 to 15 takeaways that you could apply right now to your business. Check it out on Amazon, $1 Million Journey by me, Erik J. Olson.